So really happy to be here tonight, and thank you for the nice presentation. So I took some example of Laurent into the LinkedIn presentation, so don't be afraid, it's all nice. So just to introduce a bit about what we are going to see, it's really an overview of LinkedIn, and then after some best practices for you as a company and what the member experience is. So, truth to be told, my first experience, my first job is to be a cook. So what it means for LinkedIn, that means that in the past it was something was unique to transform yourself. But right now with LinkedIn you have the possibility to, it's really common to see people that change to be a lawyer and build a startup, so that's something which is really common. So it's just to make the connection with LinkedIn. So first, we'll look at a video.
When I was a kid, every night before I went to bed, my dad would tell me I could do anything I set my mind to. Believing it changed everything. You're closer than you think.
So what does that mean? So this actually, it's the first TV ad that we launched on the Oscar ceremony. And this one means that the NASA was actually doing recruitment on LinkedIn, and that we have 3,000 people that qualify to be astronauts on the over 400 million members. So just to give you an insight that on LinkedIn there is not only tech guys or just VP or high-level people. There is also, as we see on the next slide, cook, just to make the connection. There is 20,000 cooks in France on LinkedIn that are identified as a cook. But more appropriate for your industry as software developers, we know that it is really difficult to hire those guys, and when you are starting, because it's really expensive to hire them, it's taking time to bring awareness. But there is 140K people in France who have the title of software developers. So right now we are going a bit higher and on LinkedIn about what we are doing and why we are doing it. About the first digital economy, what we call the economic graph. The objective is really to bring our vision and mission, which is to have the global workforce on LinkedIn and create economic opportunity for every members, which is not only to find a job, but, and here it's actually some numbers behind me about over 400 million members. Companies that are present on LinkedIn. So just I will stop here, as I've seen that some startups raise the hand. Who has a company page on LinkedIn? Okay, good. So that's actually a good point. And then who has a profile? Okay, so we're good. So you're part of the members and the enterprise. And after, it's also about the offers, job offers. We have the skills, so everyone is building his actually profile on LinkedIn. You have the schools and universities that give more information about what you're doing and about the contents. Why talent on LinkedIn are there is because they are connected. They are actually going to stay informed and end the career. What it means that there is more on the recruitment part. They are not just here to look for a job. We'll say that 80% of the population there is just to get informed and look at some content, and then they will be approached by company as you will be looking for talents. Acquiring talents is really difficult, so obviously you know that, because there is high demands, low supply, and actually a lot of different fluctuation between those jobs, and it's taking longer time, even if despite the rise of investment by large company and small company on these topics. So just does these topics make sense for you as like Laurent? Is it something that you're facing when you're looking to hire new people?
Yeah. It's very difficult to hire great talents, especially programmers.
Yeah, indeed. Anyone else? No? To find a job? So the good news is even if it's really difficult and there is some struggling on that, all the members are surrounded by opportunities. And we've got some numbers behind me. 37 numbers are about the active, so the one who are actually looking for a job. They are really more open than before about looking the right one and having a discussion. About the passive, it increased from, we said 80% were actually on LinkedIn just to not look at the job, but for content. And now there are 85% more looking and open to conversation with other company. So here is just to more transition to go a bit lower on the topics and less strategic about LinkedIn. So here's the camera. So in the past, it was really difficult, really simple to buy a camera. There was just one price. So we will say that there is a really similarity between the candidate and the consumer. And now the consumer is able to find and gather information everywhere as a candidate before taking the purchase action. So this is the same for candidates. So you have to bring the awareness of what your company is doing before trying to hire him or before posting a job. So what today's actual candidates looks like. So we'll say in French, mouton à cinq pattes, and here is a chameleon. We've got a persona, which is Laura. She has behavioral skills and technical skills. And so everyone is looking for the right person in the company, but also to do the job. So we'll see that Laura is actually having a journey on LinkedIn. So there is tons of touch points before she gets to be your employee. So she will gather information, she will look at what she's doing, what her peers have been doing and how they've been working and finding a job. She will look at Harvard Business Review, for example, for idea about high innovation, etc., until she gets approached by you and apply to be an employee. So you really to have build, engage, and recruit at the end, if you want to translate. Here, it's more about the recruitment market. So I said, so we've got passive talent, we're on the top, and active talent. Active talent are the guys that they already know you, they are actually looking for a job, and you definitely have to address the whole market. There is not just the passive or just the active. And to do that, the first step of your strategy is really to find and actually define your audience. So that means if you're looking for software developers, you really have to look if you are looking for young grads, experienced guy, etc., etc. And then you will have to look at a conversion funnel, as you can see as a prospect, when they are unaware of your company, and then after getting interested, they will consider your offer and your company, and then maybe they will apply and get into your team. Does it make sense? Okay. So the first one where there is a bar, it's experience. So here's just a slide to express that every member is actually sharing priceless information with you. That means that even if you are not enterprise client spending with LinkedIn, you are able to visit those profiles. And you can see that Laura is having different experience. You've been working in different locations. So through that, you can define your audience and move forward on your recruitment. And about affinity data, that means if they are actually connected with some of your employees, and maybe it's easier for you to recruit them. If they are following your companies too, if they are actually past applicant or internal candidates, they will be a good point for you. So now we'll jump quickly into social media strategy, which I think you are quite expert in it. There is three main pillars. So build, engage, recruit. The first one, so build was actually to build the awareness. Then I took the Larouche Kidiwi as example. So we'll say that followers of your company are actually 70% more willing to and open to conversation. Sorry. That means it will be easier to recruit them. Then after, as I said, still on the building stage, you have to define your audience. You have to make sure that you will speak to the right person. So that means that every touch point on LinkedIn, you are able to communicate with them. So as example, so James Davis, is actually having a communication about La Ruche qui dit oui. Communicate, it's really to when you are actually on the profile of your employees. So, for example, it's Benjamin, so he's someone that I've been working in the past at Hackor. So when I visit his profile, I could be projected on La Ruche and then projected again as an employee, a future employee of La Ruche, and going on the company page and having more content. So then this is still on the build, and because the first action a member is doing on LinkedIn is to visit other profile. So now we'll more look at engage. So we will speak quickly about a career page. So I know that as a startups, all of you are mainly career company page and not career page. Career page is more about HR content. So it's a dedicated content about, let's say, when you're recruiting a developers, you will serve them on a silver plate what they want. So the right content, and make them understand why they should join you instead of going to Google or etc. So update your followers. It's really important to engage with them and continue to push relevant information. As La Ruche showed us before, there is relevant information about what they are doing inside, when they are organizing dinner, lunch, or breakfast with their employees. And then there will be also virality about social media, and it could be shared by your employees. So really engage also with your employees, make them communicate more about information. Sorry. So the slide before was more about a dedicated sponsored content. So this is also something where you can work on different touch points about mobile, because LinkedIn has been more mobile than before. 2008 was 3% of the traffic, and now it is 53%. So here it's more about when you are on the final stage, when you are hiring someone, it's like you will push the right job to the right person at the right moment. That means when you are on your own page, you will have relevant jobs to you, hopefully, if the algorithm is working well. And then on the last stage, you will be able also to contact them. So I do think all of you have received email, even if it was just not for recruitment, but you did receive one. So this is an aspect to personalize the relationship, to really finish your work with them and finish and maintain the relationship. Even if they are not willing to apply, they will be in your talent pool and engage with your company. So here just a quick recap of the 3 different pillars. Build, engage, recruit with some important KPIs that will start from really building the awareness about the traffic to the new hire quality. So last one, member experience. Then it gave you the other side of LinkedIn. So we'll take an example of one of my past colleagues. He's now moved to San Francisco. He's called David Vambre. He's been approached by Google in the past. So on day 1, he's actually connecting to his home page. You can see that there is an ad of Google saying, do cool things at Google. Cool. Day 4, he goes again on LinkedIn to gather information, exchange content or expertise with his colleagues, and there is a job again, where they project him to a role at Google. So he's actually not looking for a job, so he's a passive candidate. And now we are on the day 6. He's still networking with his peers, and again, you've got Google. So they build awareness to David. Even if Google is an example, you will say, yeah, it's a really big company, they don't have problem to hire, but they do have problem to hire as LinkedIn does. And they will be pushing information, and employer branding is really important. This is key because it will be important for you to show and create the awareness why they should join your company instead of maybe Google. What's the challenge he will take? On day 10, David is actually clicking on the job because he's actually looking for more interaction with them. He's seen that about 10 days he's been approached a lot of time. On day 14, again, there is an ad. And then on day 17, he goes definitely on the career page to look about more real content, HR content that will be dedicated for young grads. So he's really engaging now with the company. And he will be looking again to the offer, and on the offer, he will after jump to the profile of maybe one of his future peers or colleagues. And again, you can see there is an ad on the profile that will project him as a future employee. So, on day 20, what do you think he does? He applies, he contacts Caroline, or he receives an email? Does someone has the answer? Sorry? Yeah, that's right. He received an email. So that's why you finish actually the process, the funnel, the conversion funnel, and he does receive an email from the recruiter. And he actually personalized the email. Is not yet, they are actually looking for an opportunity for him, but engaging, looking what school he has done, maybe it's easier for him to connect and to get approach. So we'll just finish.
Avoir un boulot qu'on apprécie, c'est agréable tous les jours. On y va pour les gens et pour nos tâches quotidiennes qui nous font apprendre plus. C'est vers la fin de ma licence que je me suis aperçu qu'il y aurait des difficultés à trouver de l'emploi et j'ai fait tout mon possible pour trouver les meilleurs stages. Donc je suis parti en stage à Madrid et au Costa Rica. Mais j'aime beaucoup Lyon parce que c'est ma ville, c'est la ville que j'aime. La première fois où j'ai entendu parler de LinkedIn, c'était en première année, en cours. Le directeur adjoint est venu nous voir et nous a dit qu'il fallait absolument que nous y soyons présents et que c'était très facilement accessible pour nous les étudiants puisque c'était gratuit. J'ai trouvé mon stage chez monpotager.com en utilisant l'outil recherche, en indiquant Lyon et un stage dans le web marketing. Grâce à ce stage, j'ai été embauché chez monpotager.com. C'est un service en ligne qui permet de cultiver ses fruits et légumes sur Internet. Mon rôle, c'est de faire vivre l'entreprise sur les réseaux sociaux, mais c'est aussi de faire vivre l'entreprise au quotidien. Je ne pouvais pas demander mieux. LinkedIn m'a aidé à avoir mon job chez monpotager.com. Je vais enfin emménager dans une colocation avec une très bonne amie à moi. Un conseil que je pourrais donner à n'importe qui en train de finir ses études, c'est de surtout rien lâcher, prendre des initiatives et savoir être autonome.
So thank you. So this actually is the end of the presentation. As you've seen, that Theo is has been a young grad and has found a job, some maybe a company that you might know, and it's actually a video that we push mainly to new students and new grads to make them understand what's the next step for them. Do you have? Any question? If something hasn't been clear.
Hello. Okay, about the moment when you want to hire someone and you just send him an email, which is a really important phase. Do you plan to maybe train the recruiter? Because I just noticed that maybe 90% of email just sucks and are really, really bad. And maybe it would be better if we can just train the recruiter to send better email in LinkedIn.
So sorry, just you said about what was really bad. Sorry.
The email in LinkedIn when recruiters just want to recruit you, they just send you really, really bad message.
But actually, yes, they have to be trained because they have to personalize. After it's actually a job, and recruiter have to switch their mind about to be a marketer and less a recruiter. So that's something what we are trying to make them evolve, but depending of the company, depending of the generation, so it's something which is maybe sometimes more difficult. But yeah, we do train them, but sometimes it works and doesn't.
Hi. It seems to me that LinkedIn is addressing all kinds of companies, like from all different sectors, but how do they, and there is only one conversion funnel for all the industries, but each industry has to recruit in its own way. So how does LinkedIn address these kind of issues?
What are the issues?
The fact that each conversion funnel has to be specific to each industry for recruiting the good people.
Yeah, so it's actually quite the same for after it's just to address the right message at the right moment for the people. For example, you take a company like L'Oreal. You'll say, okay, this major company do not have any problem to recruit, but actually they do, because they will have to look for engineers and searchers in I don't know, hair scientists, etc. And this is really tough for them, because those guys they are more willing to go working to INRIA, because they are not looking just to have a big pay or have a lot of major publicity or whatever. So it's really tough, and they have to work a lot of the awareness. They have to change the mind of the company. It's like also for the finance sector, they will have difficulty to find the developers, because in the past, developers in the finance were on the basement, and no one want to work in the basement. But now this is the guy that they need, because they will make shorter connection and on the transaction. So they again have to switch the way they were talking to those guys. So indeed, it's always a conversion funnel that is quite different, but you have to address it. Other question?
When the candidate sends an email to the recruiter or the opposite, is it possible to check if the person has read the email?
That's a really good question. I will go on the ignorance side, because this is more about when you're using it on your personal level. When you send an email, you won't see if it is read. I think you compare it like as Facebook, when you look at Messenger. So on my memory, on my personal profile, there is no visibility about that. After, when you are a recruiter, because there is a lot of things, online product, enterprise products, and they have the possibility to see if the email has been accepted or not. Okay. And then they will see the reason of why it is not accepted, and they can accord it to a project they will have.
Okay.
The company pays for every ad, or they pay for an annual abonnement, and then they can put as many ads as they want?
So good question. So actually, your let's say companies will have annual subscription for some tools, or more about sourcing tools, and then after about the ads, it is something which is really punctual. They can buy a certain number of impressions, but then after we have to really orchestrate it, because every member is protected, and if another company is also trying to push communication to these members, the developers, we have to see if it is available, because as I just said, it is there. Every member, so everyone is protected. 60 days, you have you will not receive communication if you received one. So company will have to have a bucket of impression, but really to have a communication plan, definitely.
So do companies bid against each other for to try to reach a certain candidate?
Sorry? Yeah.
Do companies actually bid against each other to reach a specific candidate, or is it like I have a startup where only 2 people. Obviously, we would need some developers like Google, and obviously we can't spend too much money hiring people.
It's
is the level of investment you have something that's going to change whether you're able to reach specific targets?
So at LinkedIn, you have a different segment of market, as you said. And so there is SMBs, there is enterprise, there is global, and then there is different price list. And to answer your question about what were sorry, what was
as a two-person startup, will we be on the same level as Google if we try to reach specific candidates?
You will actually. So that's why one of the mistakes that we all do on the recruitment is to look only at the end of the process or the funnel conversion funnel, just of the hiring. So that's why we say that we have to look about awareness, because maybe your company is more sexy than working at Google for developers, but they have to know that before moving. So there is definitely a talent war, as I explained, for the same type of profile, as there is different company fighting for it.
Hi, is LinkedIn giving any courses to better recruit? Because like from what I understand, you know, sometimes we receive some bad emails because people are not trained and things like this, and I might be doing the same. So do you give any course?
Actually, we have online tools where you can find decks, presentation about and best practices. So I will share this link with Anne-Laure, and she can share it with you on the website. So it will be relevant for you. So it's online and open to everyone. But after giving training, it's only dedicated for the clients. So that's something which is on site, extra. But we definitely have online tools. And if you're looking at SlideShare that have been acquired a long time ago by LinkedIn, there is tons of content. So sometimes it can be messy, but you have a lot to learn about that.
Hi. If we don't want to hire somebody right now, and we need to have a list of potential candidates. So in the future, we'll call them if we have some projects. Is there something in the platform LinkedIn to us to make that thing?
It's like, just to make sure I understand.
Something like CRM
is like
potential candidates.
I thought you said that you are not looking to hire right now, but you want to hire in the future, right? So actually, that's as we are a data company, and as is linked to the question that we have on the ads, we can help you define who you will be talking to, whom you are going to hire, because we will see what the competition is about in France, which cities is losing or gaining talents, and we can help you to define that. And after, with tools that we are selling at LinkedIn, you are able to build projects for the future, and saying that, okay, you will send even email. That's why when I say that you have a negative answer, it's still a good answer, because you will make those people into a project, and maybe they will be open to a new opportunity in 6 months. Did I answer your question?
One last maybe. Do you have any products catered to entrepreneurs who are maybe looking for co-founders?
No, not actually. For entrepreneurs who are looking co-founders, but actually that's we don't have tools. But what you have to do through that is really to through this question is to interact, to try to connect with people. So by with your personal profile, sending email maybe to Frédéric Mazella or whatever, and trying to see if he has any information or is sharing best practices, etc. There is really a lot of story about LinkedIn. When we say creating opportunity, it's not about just a capitalist view of the business or making money. It's really to help also people. So we have a story. It's a woman based in the US. She's in a tiny village with her 2 kids, and one of her kids is disabled, and she was kind of really isolated. And she actually used LinkedIn to reach out to some CEOs, including our CEOs at LinkedIn, and they gave her money, and she found actually her small company, and then she was able after to take her kids and the disabled one to help them. So it's really by really connecting with people to taking the opportunity, the courage to do that. As you are startuppers, I'm definitely sure that you have a lot of courage, and so it's just by sending an email, it won't cost a lot. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Que l'enfant